I believe that the chief host deserves a better round of applause. Congratulations to us. Thank you very much. Please, the proud alumni members of Army War College Nigeria, please, you may now proudly take your seats. With the kind permission of the special guest of honor, we will now proceed on a 5-minute break to enable the guest lecturer to set up for the inaugural lecture and probably for us to empty our bowls. 5 minutes break within the auditorium. Thank you, sir.
All right, ba? Lar. All right. Yeah. Babosika. As what? Deputy. Okay. Oh, that's great. How now? Adeke, why you there now? Still in Ame quarters? I think say you don't move. Okay.
Okay, but Major General, except maybe GOC.
Now,
Where you are,
you cannot be GOC.
they started migrating to our junior, so
Ah, no, don't worry. God's time is always the best. I always tell people when General Mark
distinguished invited guests, please let us take our seats. Time is up. All right. Please, let's take our seats. Let's take our seats. Our time is up. Very senior officers, serving and retired, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, please let us take our seats so that we can continue with the rest of the program. Members of Army War College Alumni Association, please take your seats. As we await the special guest of honor joining us for the program to continue, let me quickly announce that the Army War College Nigeria Alumni Association will meet briefly at the college lecture hall, first floor, immediately after the lunch. The interim president just directed that I convey that we'll meet shortly after lunch at the college lecture hall at the first floor of this college. Please, let's endeavor to be there just a couple of minutes and we'll leave. Thank you, sir. Please, you may take your seats. The special guest of honor, senior officers, serving and retired, distinguished, invited guests. Let's take notes. Members of Army War College Nigeria Alumni Association, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back from the break. We shall now proceed to the inaugural lecture titled Strategic Value of Alumni Network in National Security Development. This very important lecture will be delivered by Brigadier General J.N. Temlong, retired, a distinguished professional whose wealth of experience spans national and international engagements. Before I invite our esteemed guest lecturer to the lectern to deliver his lecture, please permit me to acquaint this noble audience with a very abridged version of his very rich curriculum vitae. Brigadier General Jonathan Ndam Temlong, retired, was born on 7 January 1954. He hails from Langtan North local government area of Plateau State. He is a member of the 14th regular course of the Nigerian Defense Academy. He attended several courses while in service, some of which include Command and Staff course at Fort Leavenworth, United States of America, Defense Advisors course in Lagos, Combat Team Commanders course in the United Kingdom, and the National War College course in Abuja. During his illustrious career in the Nigerian Army, Brigadier General Temlong, retired, held several key appointments, some of which include the Mortar Officer, Task Force 203 in N'Djamena, Chad, Commanding Officer 241 Reconnaissance Battalion, Commander 23 Armored Brigade, and Commandant Depot, Nigerian Army. He was a member of the Presidential Committee on the Review of the National Defense Policy and chairman of the Subcommittee on Higher Management of Defense. He was also a member of the Draft White Paper Committee on the National Defense Policy. He is currently the president of the National Defense College Alumni Association. Our esteemed guest lecturer is happily married, and the union is blessed with 4 children. The special guest of honor, special invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our guest lecturer to the podium to deliver his lecture. The guest lecturer, sir.
Thank you very much for the intro. I think I'm not the current president of the alumni. I handed over about 6 years ago. Air Commodore Abdullahi is the current president and is due for to step down in a week's time. This protocol, I only know that I will recognize, if I don't recognize those who I'm supposed to recognize. Our special guest of honor, His Excellency General Chukur Boratai, whose association with me has spanned decades. I won't tell you any stories. It has spanned decades, and he stands tall amongst those association has been, and very proud of him. You can see the quality of work even in this college as a testament to the high standard to which he has achieved and what he attains and what he tries to do. The representative of the Chief of Army Staff, he was busy running around after bandits and terrorists in the Plateau and Southern Kaduna area before coming down here. So Maxwell Dangana has been a very close person too that we've been working with. Unfortunately, the Chief Army Staff is not here himself, but he sent an ably an able rep in the person of General Dangana. The Commandant, it's a pleasure to be here with you. When I got your message, I was shocked. I said, how did my name flip onto your computer at this time to come up here? The former commandants, one reminded me that he has not forgotten the chicken I used to give them at the Multinational Joint Task Force. That chicken had a caviar. When they come from the field to the headquarters, they must come to my cubicle as the commander. So I'll roast chicken for them. Unfortunately, some of them didn't grow up in the villages, so they didn't know that the gizzard is for the elder. And so the CO 134 Task Force Battalion, Deba, will be pushing gizzard to their front. Say, see meat now, eat, eat. Those who are coming new for the first time. And once they eat it, when they finish, they say, why is the commander's meat? So for each chicken, for each gizzard, you bring 2 chicken. So probably he remembered that one and he reminded me. And that will be the one that will be roasted the following day for officers who are coming to the headquarters for one thing or another. They will eat free chicken, you know. Once there is none, then I have to buy for them. General Charles Ofoche, a very fantastic officer that we worked with him on the committee with Air Vice Marshal Umaru. And he's glad he was here, commandant of this institution too, and all the former commandants. The reps of the other alumni, thank you. My Oga, AVM Umaru, he told you that he had to pick people to be president of ANDEC. Yes, that's what he did to me. He just said, you are going to be president of ANDEC. But I had no option because the organization was getting down and he insisted that I come on board to work on it. And thank God we were able to revive it and restate it to an era that we got national prominence to the extent that the president, commander-in-chief, attended 2 of our functions. And it opened ways for us. So we thank you. I'm highly humbled to be invited here as the guest speaker. And I thank you very much for this honor. I want to specifically thank the commandant and the faculty for this honor, and for all those who have been inducted today as members of the Alumni Association. I think it's a very important day in the history of this institution, and it's a good landmark. From the goodwill messages you have heard of institutions that have been established since 1924. Immediately after the World War I, there was a need to have at the strategic level in the US institutions because they had to maneuver large-scale forces of armies and army groups. The highest they had then was the Staff College, Command and Staff College. It was the highest tactical training institution then. And so that was the one I went to, the US Army Command and General Staff College. Now you needed an institution at the operational, at the strategic level. Thank God here we thought of too that we needed something at the operational level, which is a bridge between the tactical level of war and the strategic level of war. And these are the 2 important aspects, because no matter how good the strategy is, if the tactics and the operational art are wrong, you won't attain it. Yes, but if the strategy is bad and you have good tactical and operational leaders, you achieve the end result, even though it might be at higher costs. But the important thing are these human beings to fight at the tactical and operational level to be able to attain the objectives of strategy. So I think it's a very important stage in your career that you need to. And I agree with AVM Umaru that you need lieutenant colonels. Colonels, you should be moving into the strategic level to prepare to the generalship. This institution is tailor specific, made for this purpose. Unlike other alumni associations, this one was organized and recognized by the college board. And it is, like we said, it's a lifelong, and you raise it, the two of you raise it, it's a lifelong association that you have for professional connections among graduates. It strengthens institutional memory. Now, when you talk about institutional memory, that's what is lacking in our system, and we've been trying to see how do we get institutional memories. In other armed forces in the world, when you go to the Ministry of Defense and Services headquarters, you have, like in US, you said DOD civilians. And then in Whitehall in UK, you have civilians working along, even in service headquarters. Those are the institutional memories, because the military chaps come and spend 2-3 years and you are back onto your next beat. I remember when after my retirement, they were still calling me about certain aspects, including the Baga thing and the rest, because nobody could speak about it at that time. But you now, what it is that there is a body of knowledge, resources that is available now. People are talking about course 1, course 2, course 3, and the rest until you fade naturally. This is the institutional memory that remains for this college. So it has to be you have to take it very seriously. The association aims to serve as a strategic platform for mentorship, collaborative learning, and the continuous projection of the college values and influence in both national and international security environment. Now, how do you mentor? These are the key things that I'm sure they said they have for this thing, but let me share a little. After my Command and General Staff College, we had our addresses and they were sending military review to us. That's the professional magazine of the US Army. But unfortunately, with our mailing system collapsing and the rest, the things died. Now, if you take the military journal, the military review, you find out generals like 3-star generals like Boratai who have retired, writing an article with a captain or a major that will be published. That is mentoring. Because that boy, that second lieutenant might probably have been his orderly or his ADC or something, and he would have pushed him, he will give him what to write and he will polish it enough to be able to gain, to be published in that. And that is how you keep mentoring some of these things. And they talk about operational, tactical, and emerging threats. So these are things that you might need to start a publication for your own college, and which will be part of the mentoring thing that you look at, because people have gone out into operations. Now, let's go on. I think I've spoken about it. The association aims and objectives are lofty and commendable, and since this is an inaugural event, I'll choose to focus on how you can build an alumni association that can stand tall amongst other similar institutions. This will be the only way that you can contribute and compete in the ever-changing, complex national and international security environment that we are in now. The alumni network plays a crucial role in national security development by fostering connections among professionals. Connections among professionals. You can hear people from Nigeria still talking about RCD, still talking about National Defense University. I talk about the U.S. Army Command and General Staff College. We still have those connections and the rest. and it does that. The key benefits of alumni networks in national security include knowledge sharing, mentorship, collaboration, and consultancy. For us at the alumni of the National Defense College, we have a consultancy branch that does consultancy. And so it wouldn't be out of place for you to think of some of the professionals here who have retired and are doing nothing, not doing nothing as such, that you get them a body of this thing and be doing some consultancy for the army, including research and the rest. So these are some of the benefits that you can get from them. It doesn't keep them idle. And they get some stipends for the organization and something for themselves too. That is another way you can build it. Alumni networks facilitates the exchange of expertise and experiences among professionals. You know, one of the important things about alumni, like you talked about the NDA, is that even without that, courses in NDA, because either it's formal, like this one has been inaugurated today, or it can be informal. And that's why courses in NDA have decided to form their own alumni. Last week, their own course, 29 regular, they were in Ocean, partying there, and I said, these people are enjoying, they've forgotten some of us should have been there to banter along with them. That's the benefit of what alumni is. That even they either formal or informal, it's a lifelong relationship that you have formed. So when you fail to structure it and make it formal, people come together to make it what it is supposed to be. And I tell you, one of the secrets of living long and healthy is to meet with your old colleagues and be meeting every time. That's a very good secret. If you see some of us standing like this, it's because we enjoy partnership and talking with our old colleagues, sharing good memories and the rest. That's very important, it's key. Well, that brings us to the end. Is to briefly discuss strategic value of alumni networks in national security development in Nigeria. To get to this, what do we look at? Let's look at some conceptual discourse. We'll look at building and sustaining effective alumni networks in national security development. We'll look at contributions of alumni associations to national security development. And then we'll look at a case study of ANDEC, which, like we said, our first president, and I'm the third president of ANDEC. So we'll look at it and see. We're not reinventing the wheel. Some people have done it. So let's see, how do we adjust that wheel? The era of invention is past. It's time for adjustment to meet. And then we'll look at the way forward and some recommendations. Now let's look at the key words and see how they are used with this thing, because it helps us to understand how they are used in this paper. The first is the strategic value. Strategic value, Edward, is, strategy is an amalgamation of all the resources that you have in a country to attain your objectives. Any strategy without an end goal is no strategy. Any strategy without an end goal is no strategy. And so the importance or usefulness of something is achieving a long-term goals or objectives. That's it. You have to achieve your objectives. If you don't have, it's an open-ended and it's no strategy. The strategic value in national security refers to the importance and impact of a nation's resources, capabilities, and policies. And you are the ones who hold the capabilities and policies in achieving its security objectives and maintaining its overall well-being. If you get the paper, the whole thing is written there. I'm just giving you the abridged now. Now, what do we have as alumni networks? Alumni network is a group of individuals who have graduated from the same educational institution or organization, forming a community for networking, professional support, and social connection. And that's how you fall within this, because you graduated from the National Army War College, and you are forming a professional a community for networking. Now, What are the benefits of alumni networks for institutions? Increase enrollment. You see, for institutions, you find out that not your own is you are posted, you are sent. But for other institutions, they look at, they say, and it's true, an institution is as good as alumni. If the product is not good, the institution is not good. And the product of that institution is reflected by the performance of the alumni. And so if they see the products of an institution from the alumni doing what, you see people trying to go to school in those areas. And that's why you have what you call the Ivy League universities. See people trying to get into Harvard, MIT, Stanford, Yale, Oxford, Cambridge. Is the products. It sells itself. You don't have to sell your institution and say you are the best. But that product showcases by the success of the operation, and it will show very soon. Some of you have reached 1 star now, and in future, whether we like it or not, you are going to be service chiefs by the time you get to that one. And then we will see what the effects of this institution on you. And you will find out that those who have gone back to their countries, you will see their countries asking for more slot, because if there are results that are coming out from here. So it's a challenge for you as alumni to be able to make sure that you hold the standard of this place very high, and it's a challenge for the faculty too to make sure that what you are impacting, it reflects on the people out. And so the commandant and the faculty has a great job to make sure that this standard that they are setting must go up. And part of the things that the alumni do too is to monitor and make sure and bring it to the attention of the commandant and faculty that, look, standard is going down. Or some of them are coming back. You breach in the gap by helping in organizing certain exercises that will bring in the shortfall. So that's what you do, the benefits. Now, fundraising, engaging alumni for donations and support. That's for other institutions. You remember ABU, alumni, even my own secondary school, we raised funds and did a lot of things. Here, you might not need to do that. We discussed a little bit during the break with the special guest of honor and the commandant. There is a need for a funding way to be able to help you in achieving your distance. So that's one thing, because you won't have to go and start raising funds. But you can still add, because how much are you going to contribute as your contribution? And you will see as time goes on, when the light starts getting dim, those who are no more in service will be reluctant to contribute because they have so many medical bills and the rest to take and so many responsibilities. So there has to be some sustainable means of maintaining your activities. If not, you're going to run into serious problems. Now, brand promotion, like I've said, it's already what you do, promotes your own brand. Improve student experience by providing current students with valuable network and mentorship opportunities. That's what you're supposed to be doing. You're going to be doing that. Now, let's look at national security development. It refers to the measures a government takes to protect a nation from internal and external threats, including its sovereignty, citizens, and interests. It encompasses defense and security, but also extends to economic stability, cybercrime, and social well-being. You know, the United Nations has given a new definition of national security to include human security, and these are the other. So it's all encompassing now. You are not just going to talk about your own states. During the Cold War, the national security was state-centric, talking about survival of the state. But now it has shifted from state-centric to human-centric security. What are the key aspects of national security development? Economic, military, environmental, cyber security. Environmental, you can see desert encroachment into the northern part of this country has created what? Forced migration. And forced migration has moved people into areas, and people are now competing for the scarce resources, natural resources, land, water. And this has exacerbated conflicts within the Middle Belt area, and you are fighting, coupled with what is happening in the Northeast. The Lake Chad area, which used to be a bastion for pastoralists, it becomes so unsafe. So you see people moving down, and that's why you have conflicts, herders, farmers, and the rest, because you are fighting for scores. And these are part of the environmental security that you have to look at. How do you overcome them? Cyber security is a whole gamut of its own. Best practices for national security development. Integrated approach. You don't operate in silos. And I thank you for what you are doing here is that you are bringing in people from the MDAs, other countries, and the rest. So integration becomes an easy thing. I tell you, when we visited, when I was president, and we visited the IG police then, Solomon Arase, who was an alumnus of the NDC. He just told us that anytime he has any interaction or meeting with us, he felt more at home than even with the policemen. And he said any serious assignment that he had, he will have to look for a fellow of the Defense College. He would rather give it to the fellow, and Flores, they say he wouldn't give a NIPS graduate. So Flores, anybody from NIPS here, don't feel bad. But he said he rather give a fellow of the Defense College than an MNI. So that tells you that the college itself was selling. So I think that's what integrated approach gives you, that international cooperation. What do you have with the international officers coming into it? What builds that what? Defense diplomacy. And so it's quite interesting that you have these sort of things. We have to use this very, very well. Unfortunately, we didn't use it well. At the National Defense College at ANDEC, who have integration with all our tribes and all our exercises and workshops and the rest, they contribute. In fact, we used to have the highest contribution from Niger Republic. Unfortunately, with the crisis, that is what the government should have used. Use ANDEC to enter that place, because about 4 or 5 of those regime people were members of ANDEC. And unfortunately, our ambassador was there too, ANDEC, but they didn't use that mission to penetrate outdoor. We went headlong, and we have the result. In diplomacy, you don't do that. Sometimes backdoor channels are better in diplomacy than this thing. I'm sure His Excellency will tell us that better. Strong institutions. Effective national security development requires strong institutions, not strong individuals. When we have strong individuals, it becomes a problem. When you have strong institutions, they can be able to check a strong person who wants to go amok. That's what you need. What are the security-related associations? We have seen ANDEC, ANI, you're on here, and the rest. We're now building and sustaining effective alumni networks in national security development. How do you do about this? Building and sustaining effective alumni network in security development is, you have a clear value proposition, define the network's purpose and benefits, such as access to exclusive events, mentorship, or job opportunities. And that's what you must do. Apart from what the college is doing, you yourself must define what you want to do. If you don't have a clear value, you defend values. You go to war to defend values. And so you should be able to defend the values of this institution and the core values for which you stand as an alumni. So these are, you must define this. Now you must have a structured organization, which is good. You have an interim leadership, that's structured. And everybody knows this, but then you must aim as having a proper leadership with a changing system that will not allow one person remain there for 11. Nobody wants to take over 11 years and the rest. Or some people will run in to come in. You must have a system that and safeguard it, that you change. And one other thing too is sometimes is that to make it very good is that you might zone certain appointments or make sure you have inclusivity, not even zoning. You don't have all of you army in this. You still have people from the MDAs, you have people from others that you can put them as part of your structured organization. Technology, which is very good now, this lecture can be streamlined and watched everywhere. So you always get your members, international or outside here, to be able to participate using technology as this thing. You have to do regular communication to keep this thing. And we do what we do on ANDEC is that we'll have a platform, WhatsApp platform for ANDEC, and then there's a platform for the ESCO and the rest. So there are all things we set them on the platforms. One thing you have to try to stop is don't bring in politics. Have the rule of the officers' mess and the rule of the armed forces in. Don't allow politics to creep in. Don't allow monetary issues to join you there. And don't allow women to join you there too. So you must maintain your neutrality as it is and make sure that you maintain that. Mentorship programs with peer experienced professionals with students in early career, these things. So that's what you might need to look at. Then constructive engagement is aimed at constructively keeping all stakeholders engaged for purposeful inclusiveness. Alumni network strategic planning. Now we'll talk about the clear purpose and goals, networks, mission, identifying the target audience, strong leadership, and this is a reputation. What is happening? Meaningful events and programs by organizing events, conferences, and webinars on operational. You're on operational unit level, but then you can link it up with some national security levels, you know. That will help you. Contribution of Alumni Association to national security development, policy, advocacy, and influence. For you, it's easy because some of you are in the policy. As you grow up, you sit down on policy seats. And so this one helps you be able to help and build in policy, advocacy, and influence, and implementation too. Now, capacity building and mentorship, which is we've been covering about. You must build your capacity even as a professional, personally, and then build the capacity of those who are behind you. I tell you, AVM Omoru always puts me on the high jump. If I get any good book, I send it to him. If he gets any one, he sends it to me. And he makes sure that he sends article and I do same. And there are some officers still today in the armed forces, including your chiefs, that I send them contemporary things that help them to see if you can look at this. So these are things that you try to, don't keep yourself elderly. If you don't develop yourself, you run into serious problems. The brain shrinks. You are promoting interagency collaboration. You have all the agencies here, you're collaborating with them. And so it's important that you do promote that. You address socioeconomic drivers of insecurity. The last ANDEC National Security Seminar, we talked about hunger as a driver to national security. Unfortunately, they have not published this in it. I would have brought a copy for you, but I'll make sure that we get a copy to you. Some people believe that military should just be involved in hardcore. If you go to the strategic level, we're talking about what? national security as a whole. Food security is part of security. And if you cannot feed a nation, a hungry man is an angry man. You can't get security, you can't sleep. So you see, you must help people to understand. Unfortunately, you are the only structured organization that is taught these things. Very seriously, some of the political leaders that you interact with, you will see how deficient they are when it comes to some of them talking at strategic involvement of a state, survival of state, statecraft and the rest. But you are taught. You have a structured way of learning. So you have to know how to help and build with them, especially those of you who become battalion commanders, brigade commanders, you attend security meeting and the rest. You help the governors. A lot of the problems that we're having here are not military related this thing. They are some of the things that they generate and they want you to come and solve for them. It's not possible. They are the drivers and generators of the crisis and they want you to come and solve it. It won't solve unless they address those issues which sometimes they are afraid of and thinking that it will affect them in the next election. So you have to get them subtly to understand the concept of national security and statecraft and survival of a state and what you are doing as military aid to civil authority. You are not there to do the whole donkey work for them. They believe that once you are there, you must achieve everything. There's a global outreach. Well, you have international officers, allied countries. Personal development, we'll talk about it. Travels benefit. When you travel to any country, or even within here, and when you see your colleague, you travel from here to any country that has got this thing, you try to contact that person, whether it's official or this thing. We have had this thing that anytime NDC travels, you see ANDEC members coming in to facilitate a lot of things for them, even for socialization and making sure that they get this thing. So you get those benefits when you travel. Now you're bringing individual expertise to bear on the institution. Now let's look at ANDEC as a case study. The mission and objectives of ANDEC is to promote social, intellectual, and professional interaction among members and the society at large. It's to foster national security and development through policy formulation and to provide a platform for exchanging ideas and experiences among senior military officers, paramilitary, and civilians. Now, ANDEC achieves this through the key activities of annual security seminar. ANDEC organizes seminars and roundtables to discuss pressing security challenges and develop policy recommendations for government. And when we do that, we usually send it to the President, Commander-in-Chief, we send to the Vice President, to the National Security Advisor, and to all of them. In fact, there was a year that the Vice President specifically directed us that we must give a copy of all this to the ministries and departments of government, which we did. Now, with publication of ANDEC Journal, the association publishes journal, Constructive Engagement, to share research and insights on national security and development. I brought some copies of our publication here, which I'll hand over to you at the end of my listing, at least to have a look and see what we've been doing. It helps you, again, to see how you can further your own from there. There is a need. The death of written things is the problem. They said if you want to hide anything from a Nigerian, write it in a book. Well, we must develop that culture back. Humanitarian activities, we do take part in helping the widows and the children and the less privileged by giving them this thing. In fact, we are planning to build a skill center. ANDEC is trying to build a skill center that will help take off some of the children from the barracks, especially those